Why is WTI rallying and Brent coming down? Why are we bothering with calling it OPEC and OPEC Plus when the Saudis and Russians are doing their own thing anyway? I guess more importantly for our viewers longer term, where is this mythical so-called supply crunch and demand surge in the second half of the year? Because as far as I can see, we're here already.
Yeah, absolutely, Steve. So many questions, and hopefully we can get you some answers. But look, this is not an OPEC meeting today. It certainly has the flavour of one, though, given the really pretty significant moves that we've seen from policymakers in the last 24 hours with that Saudi extension and this brand new Russia cut. So let's unpack it all with Amrita Sen, live for us from Energy Aspects. She joins me right here in Austria. Amrita, so good to see you. Thanks for joining me today.
Say hi to Steve.
Hey there. So, okay, first of all, what's going to happen with the market in light of the most recent announcement that we've seen from Saudi and from Russia? Can they cut their way out of contango?
I think it's a great question. And I mean, you've seen Brent go back into backwardation. And right now, the challenge for the market is that Dubai is extremely backwardated, well over $1 between, the first and the third contract. Brent is barely backwardated, and WTI front is still in contango. So we do have a benchmark problem, which we can kind of talk about later. I do think the market's starting to tighten. You are starting to see the draws. US data showed some draws. We are expecting big draws to have accelerated in the US as well. Remember, the US government is also starting to buy back some of the strategic petroleum reserve that they had given out, pretty much 180 million barrels last year. They also had about 21 million barrels of loans that they had given in November 21. So all of that starts to come back from August as well. So I don't doubt it for a second that the market is going to start tightening. I think the problem I genuinely think in the market is, where do we see that being manifested? I think right now Dubai is extremely strong, telling you that demand is stronger and the OPEC cuts are working, but we're not seeing the same effects in the global benchmark, arguably, which is Brent.
Yeah, okay, so fascinating, and we can talk about that in just a moment. Let's unpack this Saudi decision, though, this extension. How far are the Saudis willing to go to prop up this market?
I think, so if I change what you said a little bit slightly in my conversations with them as well, I don't think it's about propping up prices. I think it's much more about providing the floor for now and the stability, because the uncertainty around demand, I mean, this has been the longest recession coming for a while, and I think they're very aware of that. They're also very aware of China, the macro slowdown versus the oil demand numbers looking very, very solid. So I think what they're trying to do is saying, okay, look, we are going to provide stability, or at least provide a floor, right? Everybody requires that floor. Where that number is, I mean, OPEC will never give you a number. We think an 8 handle is probably welcome by the kingdom and pretty much everybody else. So I think it's about that. And forgetting that, if you think about it, Saudi production and exports, they're not particularly low. I mean, yes, they've been below 10 million barrels per day in the past as well. And they've been at 8 million barrels per day if things really go pear-shaped with demand. So yes, I think people are talking about the Saudi cuts a lot. I don't think it's a number that they're uncomfortable staying for a couple of months if that's what's required to really get the backwardation going.